So there should be code on screen. Pause if you want to look at it, but also note, as I should always say, the code should not be on separate lines like this. It should all be one line. So when you actually use something in an ETO file, it should just be on, well, this is one line. So, but then yeah, just expanding it out. This is the old version of the code. Again, this works just fine, except that I can't unless I put more if statements, which kind of is a waste and not really efficient. You can't really tell how much health the enemy is losing. That's mainly what I wanted to change. On top of the fact that, yes, now that I show you the new code here, this also accounts for what happens when you're on an Ath run. So if you're on an Ath run, you should be using up Doom, but again, you don't have to. You can just call it, a part of how your spell works. But yeah, otherwise, as you can see, I'm using tokenized text. That way I can call it in the message log and show you how much damage you're doing. As I will show you as we get into this run here, because, yeah, this is... I can't even call it a balanced spell, because there's basically a fickle line as we get Goizo Eldritch Parasite, but we're going to be playing with Nurse Miku. That way you can play with all the fun stuff that I have with her. But we will play on all perks. That I will try out. But Goizo Eldritch Parasite, right? Am I going crazy? Did I already forget what I was doing here? I think I'm just going to do Curious Birthmark instead. Why do I forget things so often? But yes, let's get into it. So, oh my goodness. As we get into Goizo Curious Birthmarks, all perks Nurse Miku. Yeah, this is the spell we're working with today. You've seen it a long time ago. I've made it more proper for this perm version, because now that we have tokenized text, we definitely did not have that. If you don't know what that means, basically that allows you to call a variable when you are, well, in this case, spitting out text for the player. So as I'll show you when we get into combat, that will be the least of what I'm talking about here, as we get Charisma, Light, Dexterity, Takshisan, Knowledge, and maybe a second encounter check. Also, yes, people are evolving at the time of this video, and that was at least comforting to me, as I was trying to undo all the spaghetti that I was dealing with for the last 16-ish hours. Well, some of them I spent sleeping, but you get the point. But yeah, we'll get into the actual World of Horror talk in a hot moment, but first, as always, reviewing the mysteries before we get in, because that is important to surviving the run. Household Hell, Mermaid, Scissors, Colt, and Fetus. So, it's just the choice of what I want to do. For better or worse, though, I think we take Fetus. Yeah, Fetus last, Hell fourth. That means we get in between Mermaids, Scissors, and Cold. Wait, no, Household Hell first. I'm going crazy. Mermaids fourth, and then Fetus last. Okay, so we could work with Scissors right away and swap the syringe out. Yeah, you know what? Let's try that out and see how that goes. So as we actually get into World of Horror talk, and we don't get to grab the scissors, even if I wanted to. So the spell I'm using right now is, I guess, the most objective way to put it, in my opinion at least, is that it is very cost efficient for the damage you deal. Especially on an Ath run, where you are only spending, therefore, one Doom here, because I made the cost. So I think I didn't put the cost incorrectly, so I have to redo this text. But, so basically, as I show you, you can read what's on screen, -1 stamina for 2 to 4 damage. So that, the damage-wise, it can be fair, because if you... another way to look at fights in World of Horror is looking at how much HP you lose, basically, overall in the encounter. And in this case, let's actually do some math here. So 24 HP, -1 all. So to avoid a -1 all, this is actually, I think, still more efficient. If for no other reason than my own personal, well, introduce my personal bias in that I feel like I lose more reason in World of Horror, but if that's not the case, and you do have to worry about stamina, or you're on an Ath run, and you are on a Doom intensive run, then this can feel very, very overwhelming. But at the same time, when we actually look at the spell on its own, at least, if you keep getting 2 damage, it's actually not worth it. That you can literally do the same kind of math. Oh my sweet goodness, I missed 91%. But yeah, you can do the math. So if you try to defeat the enemy I just fought, let's even say the enemy was doing like just 2 stamina damage. If I just spent, it would take me about, and let's be even lenient and say we only had to deal 20 damage before we, or 16 damage before we get out. That means I would have lost at I could lose at most 8 stamina for that encounter, which yeah, as you can tell on Harbinger of Doom difficulty, isn't gonna fly if you have to do that most encounters. Let's even be even more lenient. I'm losing the word. Lenient is not always the word I want to use, but you get the point. Yeah, if you have to lose about 6 stamina every encounter, that's not great. Going by my own comfort zone, which I say you should normally not lose more than about 4 HP overall per battle. You can go to 5. 6 is pushing it, but not every battle. You definitely want to keep that HP loss down to about, 4 or 5 tops. And preferably 4 HP. So 4 HP could be 2 all. It could be 3 stamina or 4 stamina. This kind of threshold is where you want to be at, because taking more than that, at least just from my observations, it doesn't turn out well. So that being said, I did forget my diary ritual. So clap bow, actually the ghost ritual, because if you're on Timeline B Scissors, you immediately find out the ghost ritual. But as we have 2 knowledge and don't want to gamble here and lose a bunch of stamina, yeah, off we go. Actually did just forget. I think it's clap bow, right? Oh my goodness, I'm going crazy. Why do I not just leave the thing in my inventory? Let's find out. So clap 4 bows and off we go. Okay, it was clap bow. Now the other 3, on the other hand, your base roll of horror advice for the day is, yeah, if you have Timeline B Scissors, this is the ghost ritual. Whatever you can surmise there, which in my case, it's clap, bow, bow, clap, bow, but you get the point. I think it was. I'm going absolutely crazy already. I'm not even tired. I just do this to myself. At this point, it happens so often. Did I see a thing there? It happens so often, then yes, I guess it's just a trait that I have to forget things. So, mermaids, cult. Yeah, we want to do cult second. And then we'll save... Did I do this wrong? I feel like I did this wrong. Anywho, let's take some Doom damage here, because our Doom is going to be really, really low. Again, Nurse Miku starts with a weapon, and it's not a bad weapon, though it does 3 damage and can be weird at times. That's more than serviceable, underneath the fact, because on top of that, the strawberry, or actually the cake, part of the cake is that you can get items that allow you to heal or deal damage. Now, it's here I forget that the word wrapping here is pushing them down the Eldritch Fluid, but the Eldritch Fluid is an item you normally throw. You can drink it. I normally don't, but I just kind of added that as just to have fun. And as my knowledge decreases... Oh yeah, I was about to say, decreases your knowledge. Okay, good. Just making sure. But I forgot to use the police station as well. But yeah, rewinding a bit, starting with a weapon again, as I always say, it's usually helpful. It's hard to find a situation in which you start with a weapon with the character and it's not helpful. Even if it's the wooden bat, you can end up tossing it so you can at least get out of your first or second encounter relatively easily. Now here on the other hand, so again, I have Heat Wave. I can cast it. Let's say I do 4 damage per 1 stamina. I'm already dealing more than that per turn. But if I need an extra turn, or in this very specific case, I do Desperate Struggle here, because if I do Heat Wave, I can do Desperate Struggle. Then we may be able... Well, we can't, but you get the point. We could have done some cool stuff. So this is actually 9, 15 HP. That's unfortunate. I could throw the Eldritch Fluid. I guess I should throw the Eldritch Fluid. This should be 9 damage. If it's not, we'll do an option select here. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if I was mathing correctly. I feel my mind is going, but... Library notes. You know what? We'll pop it again. And we get a... Only on this channel, in the very instance I want to really record and play with the spell, will this happen. But, 2 copies of Heat Wave. I can still at least forget it. We have all perks, so this is really interesting. You know what? I will take Running Shoes. Why not, right? Because we can't... Yeah, so since we're on Goizo, we spend more Doom resting. If we can spend less Doom escaping, we might as well take that. Unless it's an enemy we can't run from. But that's just bad RNG at this point. Normally, you can run from enemies. And normally, your RNG is not as bad as mine is. So we're just actually going to Witch Tree for stamina. Now, we could have gotten brain damage and died there. But we didn't. So, hey. Let's visit the police station at least. So I'm going to actually send it to the village. I don't think we have a lot of hospital investigations, unless I misremembered my mysteries. So, for the sake of surviving here, we do have to sacrifice our ally. Even if that, I never remember what damage that boss does because I always try to avoid it. I think it was mostly that it had a bunch of HP, so that's why I'm like, no matter, well, unless it does like 1 damage, but that would be a bit too easy for the player. So the alternative is that it does 2 damage, but that can hurt too. So, yeah, into Mermaids we go. Mermaid's Hell, and then Fetus. So, yeah. I should carry these handcuffs with me just to be safe. We have an old coin. I don't care about fungal growth, though, so off we go. And we're not going to be stuck in a location, so I can afford to just store items that I might need, but I don't really need. I have the luxury of getting at any moment. Now, again, RNG, that was a fair roll, but yeah, actually, you know, the funny thing about this is that because I'm Miku, I'm actually on my 3rd mystery with less than 21% Doom, which means I'm not getting any stat increases. It's not the worst thing in the world, but as we give up and take 5 stamina for 5 Doom, yeah, let's enter the thingamajiggy. You know, I was going to say I wanted to rest, and then I realized, and then I remembered that I was on Goizo. That's why I talked about escaping for less Doom. Goodness. Into the mermaids we go. 1 stamina, 1 reason lost. That was not the right phrase I wanted to use, but you get what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, so Heat Wave, I lost a bunch of stamina. That was my fault. In fact, I'm gonna lose more stamina. So I think we survived this, right? Long enough for me to do this. And Brand did, but we have a lot of Doom to spare. So let's hope we get out of this. Did we lose the bath? No. We got time skip, which as much as doesn't matter. This is mostly due. This is in part largely due to having scissors in our run as well. Yeah, don't need that. Yeah, having scissors in our run I should have actually grabbed the statuette. If I run into a ghost that I can't run away from, it's going to end badly for me. But anywho, stings. So we're actually gonna go the whole hog here. If I miss a 64% relatively, 64%, then so be it. But otherwise, if possible, yeah, I would have liked to just trade Doom, but we can just burn down and take the burns as well. With this, though, you know, I could just run from the rest of my encounters, but eventually we're going to run into something that I feel like I'm going to run into an enemy that I can't run away from, not even a boss, so shrug. Because, yeah, Fetus doesn't have a boss, and then Household Hell has a boss, but you're not normally fighting it. Hey, a seal. So, yeah, off we go. But first things first, yeah, let's actually get rid of these burns, because if I do want and or have to fight something, getting rid of that would help out the most, especially if we get a discharge summary. But 7 max reason and some sort of max stamina to go. I could check the history club a few number of times just to see. It's RNG either way. Let's re-roll again now, and now I'm just curious. Okay, we do see Demon Mask and Protective Carvings. I'm gonna... Oh, we don't have stamina. Fine, we'll take Demon Mask. I think we have like 5 max stamina if I equip this Demon Mask, but let's find out. I can't tell, but it's definitely not 3, which is good, but I'm pretty sure we're at like... Is it 2 or is it 4? Why do I feel like, Zeal is 4? It is 4, and then 4... on top of 4, so yeah, we have 5 max stamina, but with our stamina so low, you know what, we might as well be just at 5 max stamina. We don't really care about that. I don't feel like I'm going to be healing enough. Now, if we run into events back to back to back that hurt stamina, one, that's a knowledge check, but sometimes it is RNG, so hey. Yeah, shrug. As I lose stamina right there in the face. But if we do, then so be it, right? Not really much else I can say for myself. Yeah, retreating is normally a reason loss, unless, like, an event says that you stumble. But, as we get Stalker as well, and we still have Frostbite, I forgot to take care of that. Doesn't matter as much still, actually. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, I think we can brace as well here. So the Frostbite is hurting. We're still going to use... If RNG is on our side, theoretically, we should get more out of this. Unfortunately... Is that due to... Yeah, I was about to say Curious Birthmark. Wow! Back to back, huh? Alright. Well, at this point, we're just going into the casino. That is Curses. But if we can hit this next attack, it would be nice. Yeah, and then we can option select Eldritch Fluid. Yeah, option select Eldritch Fluid. So 50-50. Okay, good. 8 damage per, but the important part is a thing. So we get the weird substance. We can finally heal. I'm just going to drink it anyway. So 4 max stamina, but we need... And at a certain point, I think we can... If we like, discard the Demon Mask... I don't know why I stumbled there. Stuttered there. Demon Mask or sell it. I think we can get rid of it if need be. But... that's only if we need be. So, at this point, though... yeah. Because you can't unequip things, but you can... sell or discard, right? Yeah. So we're just gonna do that. I want a little bit more stamina going in, especially if we have to enter the lighthouse, but that'll be when we enter the lighthouse. So yeah. I could force Doom to increase more, but if I'm gonna level up, I don't want it to increase that much. So optimally, I want to be at mid 60% Doom so I can get the Mayhem increase. Oh my god, why did I gamble stamina? I knew that was the stamina loss choice. But yeah, we'll increase our strength to 8. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, as for anything else that happens in the run, that's up to RNG at this point. So, no, just take my free out. And we actually do have a hospital mystery. I'm going crazy. Even if I didn't know what it... oh, no, actually, no, it's fetus. But I thought I was like... I know I didn't have warded coma. It's a custom mystery that I don't actually play often, so... if we get out of this mystery, we'll be okay. No, actually, funny enough, well, do I say things in part? Because the whole reason I'm being very wary on stamina is because I blasted Heat Wave a bunch at the very beginning of the run. Also, I think Maru was my second encounter, by the way, so... I can just run from this. Yeah, running shoes, use the Doom, and off we go. I could... Goizo rest, if we don't have, especially if we don't have fetid fumes, but don't feel that's the best option, so off we go. Thankfully, we don't have to fight a malformed Eldritch thing. I'm pretty sure it's an Eldritch thing. Adrenaline, but really, actually strength, because we're going to be resting anyway. And what that means is that we will be increasing Doom ourselves, and we'll have more than enough strength, question mark. And I don't need to worry about the second encounter. Even though we have 6 floors, we don't have to worry about the second encounter. So we're just going to make sure strength hits 8. And it's hard to die, at least Doom-wise. But if you have the HP overall, it's really hard to die at 65% Doom. You can do it. You can. It's most, like, 99 times out of 100, it's probably going to be something you do on purpose. But as I sit here and realize my strength is actually a lot lower than we thought. And I think I had the... no, I already used it. Never mind. Let's just go all out and see what happens. We can throw the wooden bat. And then we can handcuff Takshisan and move on. Even if Takshisan hit us there, wouldn't really matter. I say this because handcuff tech might not be something that you allow for yourself. That's perfectly fine. I choose to. So Maru. And off we go. So, yeah, without further ado, as we end on a nice amount of Doom, let's... yeah, not really much else to say about Heatwave, although I will add it. If and when I do release basically my pack of Perm content, it'll exist. Also, this is a reminder that this is Perm. This is on Perm version 1.47, so you need Perm basically to use the custom content that I'm using, a lot of them. So yeah, without further ado, Nurse Miku included. Yeah, without further ado, not really much else to say. If you have anything to say, you know what to do, otherwise I won't take up much more of your time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!